All right. So this is the fourth time I tried this video, and I'm really frustrated with my e-glass right now. Oh my gosh. If you're here, it's Monday or Tuesday. We're doing 11.1 notes on congruence, transformations, triangle, congruence. Make sure you're good with the substitute teacher. Make sure you make us proud and that you earn your marbles. Okay, so let's draw this triangle. Let's reflect it. And I know that's not like the best drawing, but this example tells us that ABC is congruent to DEF. So if that's true, if triangle ABC corresponds or is congruent to triangle DEF, that means it's a rigid motion. That means that it preserves the side lengths and the angles and the overall shape of our triangle. So A would correspond to D. AB would correspond to DE, because if you map it or if you reflect it, this shape is going to be on top of this shape, right? And AB is going to be DE on this triangle. So we can write that AB maps to DE. And in the same manner, we can say that AC maps to DF, because we know these triangles are congruent, and if we reflect this shape, AC is going to be on top of DF. So we would say AC maps to DF. And lastly, the medium size side, BC, maps to EF. BC maps to EF. So if they have corresponding sides, that means they also have corresponding angles, and I'm going to write those in pink. So we have D and A. So we would say angle A, maps to angle D. We can also say they're equal, and we can also say they're congruent. B maps to E, so B maps to E. And lastly, C maps to F. And the reason we're learning all of this, because we're eventually going to prove relationships between corresponding triangles or congruent triangles. And that property is called Cpctc. And I always get the word congruent and corresponding mixed up, so I had to write it. So this is what it means. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, aka corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. AB corresponds to DE because these are congruent triangles, therefore these two sides are congruent. We also know that rigid motion preserves the shape and the size, so that's how we know that they correspond with one another. Now, the way you name this triangle matters. Up until this point, naming triangles, it's like, oh, well, we could say this is ABC, we could say that this is CBA, we can say that this is CAB, same with EFD and DFE. But when we're talking about two different triangles, we have to keep their corresponding parts in their corresponding places, okay? So this is what I mean. So let's say I name this triangle CAB. That means I'm starting with the hypotenuse, and then I put two ticks here. I meant to put one because they're the smaller ones. The medium one has two, and the largest one has three. That always helps me be organized. So make sure you only have one little tick on the short one. All right, so when I'm naming this, I'm going to start with the big side, and I'm going to end at the little side. So CAB. CAB corresponds or is equal to, and I'm going to do the same thing here, but instead of going DFE, do you see how this is the medium side? I want to end on the small side, so I have to go in this order, FDE, triangle FDE. They wouldn't be congruent if I named this DFE, because FE wouldn't correspond with AB. So you have to put them in their order. So be consistent with that. I'm going to pause this video and hopefully it actually saves. I might have to re-record again. We'll see. Thanks, guys. Actually, just to err on the side of caution, this will be part 1 of our notes. Part 2 is another 5-minute video. You know those movies where they have that like little marker and it says like take 5? I need one of those because I feel like I record these a million times before they work. Hopefully this is take 4 and it works. This is part 2 of our notes for Monday, Tuesday, November 1st or November 2nd, depending on what period you're in and when I see you. So here's an example. We have triangle RST, and it looks like it was rotated, and it's congruent to triangle XYZ. And just to make sure that we wrote these correctly, it looks like they started with RS, which is the medium side, and it ended on the small side. So RST, and that means that this triangle, we start with the medium side, XYZ, XYZ. Do you see how it's important to be consistent with our names? Hopefully you'll see that. All right, so the question is here is answer the missing parts that you can. You might not be able to answer all of the missing parts. So can you tell me the measure of angle X? Can you tell me that? Well, it looks like Z corresponds to angle, which angle does it correspond to? T. Yep. So we could say that T is also 47 degrees. I don't know what this angle is, X. This angle X. I don't know what that angle is. It looks like it's between the second and the third side. Second and the third side, so that means R. We don't know what R is either. So we know that the measure of T is equal to the measure of R, but we don't know what the measure of R is. So I can't tell you the degrees of this. So this is not possible. Now can you tell me what segment YZ is equal to? Segment YZ, the measure of segment YZ. Well, it looks like the measure of YZ corresponds with ST, and that's 15 centimeters. So we could say that YZ is 15 centimeters. All right, we were able to get that piece of information. The next piece of information is the measure of angle T. So whenever you have that M, remember they're asking you for degrees. It wouldn't be correct to say, oh, it's congruent to the measure of angle, what is it? Wait a second. S, the measure of angle S. We couldn't say that. We need degree measures. So the measure of angle T, why am I getting so confused right now? I'm sorry. You guys know that when I teach, I get all like riled up and then I forget where I'm at. Yeah, this is 47 degrees, right? I got all tripped up because I had already written it. So we know that the measure of angle T is 47 degrees. It was literally in my face. And then the last thing that we're trying to see if we can figure out is the measure of XZ. XZ is the hypotenuse and it corresponds to TR. And it doesn't give us an actual measure. So this is not possible. We don't know what it is. We don't have enough information. All right, so remember, this is all leading to corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. And right now you're just going to practice with an example. And you're going to have to justify or explain your reasoning on that numbers 1 through 7. It's a separate piece of paper that I want you to work on after these notes. The next time I see you, I would like for you guys to bring pages 147 through 166 in the book. So if you're in my 8th period, you have to bring this Tuesday so that you guys have something to work on if you finish early. If you're in my 1st and 5th period, you're going to bring it Wednesday. If you're in my 4th and 6th, you're going to bring it on Thursday. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. All right, guys, thank you. Thank you for being patient, even when I lost my brain a little. I will see you guys Wednesday or Thursday. Take care.